Are the Cavs that good, or is the East that bad?
Well, the East was that bad. The East was that bad. We'll find out how good the Cavs are in about a week.
Yeah,
we'll find
will.
out over the course of the next 2 weeks, actually. But I'm sorry, as much as I believe that the Cavaliers are a great team with the greatest player in the world, with a closer in Kyrie Irving. And by the way, let me take a moment to give Kevin Love some love. Kevin Love deserves a lot of love. If Kevin Love shoots the basketball the way he's been shooting the basketball, if he shoots like that in the finals, Cavaliers going to win the chip. I'm telling you that right now. Kevin Love, he shoots like that, they're going to win the chip. But here's the deal. With all of that being said, Indiana, Toronto, Boston against the Cavs? Really? Is it? I mean, I'm sorry. I think what was more flagrant was the deficiencies of the opposition than the greatness of the Cavs. So that's the way I look at it.
Well, you'd be right if they were squeaking by a point or two. If they were winning 6 and 7 game series, all right, you could say, well, it's the weakness of the East. This isn't really the Cavs' dominance. And the Cavs' defense is still not very good. At times, it can be good. At moments when they need it to, they can clamp down still, it seems to me, especially when LeBron James apparently doesn't have a bug, because that seems very credible. That's the reason he looked tired, was that he was sick. It seems credible after last night. So if they were squeaking by an extended series, okay. But whatever you want to say about Boston or Toronto, they ain't bad teams. Those are not bad teams. Like, Stephen A., back in the day, the Knicks teams that we rooted for had their hands full with teams like that. You know, like those are tough, good teams. And they got waxed. They got humiliated. It was hard to watch. And this is what happens when all-time great offense is opposed by mediocrity, or, you know, mediocrity in terms of playoff level. They're good teams, but by playoff standards, the Celtics and the Raptors aren't exceptional playoff level teams. They're just solid playoff level teams, because that level doesn't have anything to stave off the offense. You see this in boxing, right? Like, Felix Trinidad looks amazing, Stephen A., destroying everyone until he runs into Bernard Hopkins, right? Another great fighter who can offset with his defense what Trinidad's doing. Mike Tyson, same thing, until he runs into Evander Holyfield. The greatest show on turf, the St. Louis Rams, until they run into the Patriots. The offense is always huge favorites because they overwhelm solid but unspectacular opposition if they're all-time great. And this Cavs team has an all-time great offense. Eventually, the defense of the Warriors is the reason I like them. I think they're more well-rounded. But right now, through the East, that is great Cavs. That is an all-time great offense, humiliating, obliterating, solid team. Stephen A., they were kicking their teeth in. They swept every series except one, and Boston had to come back from 23 down in that one game and win because they got a friendly bounce of the ball. Otherwise, they're losing by 30 and 40 points, and they're a solid team. That doesn't happen unless that's a great...
30 and 40 points. You're the same guy that was complaining about how tough Indiana looked in the first part of their series. The same guy. You're the same guy. You're the same guy that sat up there and said, Toronto's a big, big threat in the Eastern Conference. Just stop it. You dribble.
I didn't say big threat. I never said big threat.
Give me a break.
I never said big threat.
Toronto wasn't much. Toronto, listen, it was almost, if this were boxing, it would be like Rocky III when Mickey had to sit up there and tell him that Clubber Lang, he said he'll knock you to tomorrow, Rock.
He'll knock you to tomorrow, Rock.
Because he sat up there and those opponents were handpicked. Indiana, Toronto, and Boston literally looked like they were handpicked for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And you're going to make an argument that it's the greatness of the Cavaliers that we're talking about here? I mean, come on.
If I told you, the
East was weak and we all knew it.
If I told you you're the GM of a team and here are your top 3 players, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, and Serge Ibaka, you'd be like, all right, we're all right. We're going to be pretty good.
No,
I mean,
no,
that's
no.
No,
Whoa, whoa,
you
whoa.
wouldn't think that's
Don't
a pretty
lie.
good team?
Hold on. Don't lie to the American public. I am the one who sat here for weeks getting on you because you kept talking about those three. And I said, nonsense. That's not going to matter in this series. Kyle Lowry's too miniature. Hold on. Let me just reiterate my argument to the public because I see you're going to try to lie to them. I'm going to call you out. I told Max Kellerman.
Fake news, people, right here. Go ahead.
I said Kyle Lowry too miniature. DeMar DeRozan, 26% shooting from three-point range. His skill set, as potent as he is tailor-made for LeBron. And Serge Ibaka, yes, he improves them defensively, but this is a perimeter shooting team that the Cavaliers are. He's not going to be that much of a factor. You argued with me, and I told you it wasn't true.
You did say those things. The argument was, if you recall, who poses the biggest threat to the Cavs, and I took Toronto.
That was
and you
one
took
of the
Washington.
arguments. And I said Washington,
And in fact, what we saw is Toronto posed no threat to the Cavs, and Washington couldn't even get by the team, Boston, who posed no threat to the Cavs.
Well, don't get
so
me
the
started
real
with that.
answer was
Don't get me started with
originally
that.
no. What we both should have said, which we really wanted to, let's face it, is no one poses any threat to these Cavs in the East, but that's not an indictment of how bad those teams are. By playoff standards, I agree. All those teams are kind of like second-round playoff teams. They're not conference finals-worthy teams generally. But it's not like the Cavs were eking out wins in extended series. They were beating their brakes off. When you beat a team that's like a second-round playoff team level by 30 and 40 points every game, basically, that means you are special. The Cavs have an all-time great offense. They have one of the greatest offenses of all time.
It's not true. One of the greatest offenses. Oh Lord, yep. What are you watching? What are you watching? They have the greatest player in the world. One of the greatest offenses? Stop. Stop.
You just said Kyrie's the closer, and Kevin Love, if he shoots like that, they're going to win a chip.
Kyrie's a bad boy. Well, listen, when you got open shots,
playing with the second unit, everyone can shoot.
Guys,
how many open shots has Kevin Love shot?
We got plenty more time.
Tristan Thompson makes $17 million a year. You think it's a bad team?